Will lube make my cube corner cut better? Which lube is the best for the RS3M 2020? What is the best lube to get rid of a budget feel? Is Martian and Cosmos a good lube combination? Can you recommend a good lube for my 1x1? Which lubricant should I get for my GAN 12 maglev if I want it to be slower, controllable and long lasting? Can I combine lubricants together? What is the best lube for my Mega Mix? What type of lube should I buy for my Tornado V2? Can I drink lubricant? Can I use olive oil? To be honest, I lubed my RS3M with baby oil. We get asked all the time, what is the best SpeedCube lubricant? To answer this question, there really isn't one. SpeedCube lubricant can be used to achieve a number of different things, from changing the turning speed, changing the turning feel, to reducing the noise that cube makes when turning. Probably the most important question we get regarding lubrication is it necessary? Do I really need to lubricate my SpeedCube? Lubrication of your cube, when done right, it can be highly beneficial for a number of reasons. Broadly speaking, even outside of cubing, lubricant adds a coating between moving parts, thus reducing the wear and fatigue that two moving parts could experience when constantly rubbing against each other, much like two pieces of a SpeedCube rubbing against each other. For cubing and twisty puzzles in particular, lubricants' benefits include changing the turning speed of a puzzle, making it faster or slower, dampening the sound of a puzzle's turns, both from piece-to-piece contact and from spring noise, and changing the turning feel of a cube. More on this later. So what's the difference between SpeedCube lubricants and regular lubricant? Are they all the same? Well, no, not really. Lubricants, broadly speaking, fall into one of three categories: water-based, silicon-based, and oil-based. Lubricant for SpeedCubes are typically silicon and water-based, and are differentiated by their viscosity, the chemical makeup. Viscosity is a measure of a fluid's resistance to flow. A fluid with higher viscosity is more resistant to flow, and conversely, a fluid with lower viscosity is less resistant to flow. Think of like honey versus water. Essentially, the higher viscosity, the thicker the lubricant is, and the harder it is for it to move. This small layer gets put in between the points of contact, namely in between the pieces of a SpeedCube and the spring and screw in the core. The viscosity alongside the type of lubricant will determine the overall feel and speed of a cube once applied. So, can I use something homemade or store-bought such as olive oil or WD-40 or baby oil or pool water or salt water or a cheeseburger? No, please don't. Lubricants that are not designed for plastic to plastic or plastic to metal contact may have unexpected interactions with the plastic that the puzzle is composed of, which could potentially damage your SpeedCube. So, which SpeedCube lubricant is the best? Well, it really depends on what you want to achieve with your cube. Talking about turning speed only, if you want to slow down the turning of your SpeedCube, a thicker lubricant or lubricant with a higher viscosity will do the job and slow it down. Lubricants such as our silicon-based Cosmos or Nebula, or a weight lubricant such as weight 5 and above, will do the job with a minimal amount of lubricant applied. To speed up a puzzle, a very thin or low viscosity lubricant will do the job and make the cube noticeably faster, such as water-based lubricants such as Stardust, and silicone-based lubricants with a lower viscosity such as Luna or Weight 1. The other big part of lubricant is changing the feel and sound of SpeedCubes. For example, Moyu cubes are typically quite sandy feeling out of the box, which I personally dislike. I don't like it. Imagine the feeling of two pieces of paper rubbing against each other. Adding a layer of lubricant can remove this turning feel and make its turning feel a whole lot smoother. Different lubricants can have a slightly different feel, and combined with different models of puzzles may have a different overall effect on the turning feel once applied. Lubricant can also have an effect on the sound of a cube, where it can dampen the sound by having that layer in between the pieces. Very useful if you main a louder puzzle and you have parents or roommates that dislike the sound of cubes turning. You can refer to this chart for a comparison between our cosmic lubricants for an idea on what type of effect each one might have on your puzzle. Keep in mind that the 0 to 10 scale is a relative scale and aren't actually a measure of actual viscosity. While we have this chart up, quickly I'd like to draw your attention to the scent and composition columns. Some of our lubricants are also scented, which, whilst not strictly performance enhancing, sure do smell nice. I enjoy the bubblegum scent of Stardust the most. The composition column indicates whether it is silicon or water based, all of which being silicone based except for Stardust, which is by far our fastest lubricant and is very, very low viscosity. The rest are silicone based, with silicone based lubricant being by far the most common SpeedCube lubricant readily available. So, how do I apply SpeedCube lubricant? Generally, SpeedCube lubricants will come in two types of containers: a dropper container with a removable lid, like the ones on our Cosmic lubricants, and in syringes with a small plug that can be taken off the bottom of the syringe. To apply lubricant to a puzzle's piece, you take off the lid and create a gap between the two pieces. Add a few drops as recommended by the bottle. We'd advise adding less drops at the beginning and adding more as required. It's much easier to add than it is to remove lubricant. After adding a few drops, you can turn the cube to evenly distribute the lubricant across the pieces. It helps having a paper towel or tissue handy for any lubricant that may have leaked out from the cube or to clean up any accidental spills. To apply lubricant to the core of your puzzle, take off the center caps and unscrew one of the screws with a Phillips head screwdriver. Apply lubricant like so. But Ari, if there's no best SpeedCube lubricant, which one should I buy? All of them. No, not really. Again, it depends on what type of outcome or overall turning feel and speed you are looking for when turning your SpeedCube. I like a fast, quick, and easy to turn SpeedCube with little resistance in turning, so a lubricant like Stardust or Comet will speed up a cube without changing the original feel of the cube too much. However, someone else may prefer a slower, more gummy feeling cube. A lubricant such as Nebula or weights 5 through to 8 or even Galaxy will slow down a puzzle once applied and increase the perceived resistance when turning. A good middle ground option if you're looking to just smoothen out a puzzle is something like Martian, which will smoothen out the puzzle and speed it up a little bit with a few drops applied to the pieces. Finally, a great way to tell the perceived feel of a cube is not only by its turning feel, but by the sound that it makes when turning. For instance, as I mentioned, Moyu cubes out of the box are typically very sandy feeling, where it feels like two pieces of paper rubbing against each other, which makes a similar sound to, well, two pieces of paper rubbing against each other. Whilst a lubricated Moyu cube tends to feel somewhat soft and smooth when turning, which can be heard by the turning as well. Keep an eye out for different terms used to describe turning feel that can help you decide which lubricant and which cubes you'd like to purchase, as turning feel is a very subjective matter. Thanks for watching. You can pick up some of our flagship Cosmic lubricants in the link in the description or in the card above here. You can also check out the bundles. I quite like the bundles too. To go with your lubricant, you'll need a SpeedCube, so you should check out our reviews playlist right here. And when you're ready to purchase a cube, head over to SpeedCubeShop.com. That's all linked in the description. Thanks for watching.